Hello, I am Cedric Allums, three-time state champion, 10-year military veteran, up to date on state taxes and federal taxes, and as a Louisiana citizen, my civil rights are not being protected. After my son was born, my Caucasian father-in-law, Bordelon, cried and told me it was just the way that he was raised. It's a lot of programming that America does to instill prejudice and racism in our citizens. Until we fight for the rights of all, an injustice to one is an injustice for everyone. I have no criminal record, no domestic violence, no stalking, no raping, no violence against my kids. Yet judges ordered being a parent is criminal. Okay, I'm a lifelong citizen of Louisiana. No domestic violence, no stalking, no date rape, no violence against my kids. Yet judges rendered my efforts to be a parent as criminal. Something's wrong with that, off a no-fault divorce. I just don't understand how my rights are not protected. So I just started mulling over all the contributions that I've contributed to Louisiana, and I decided to just document them for my kids and so forth. So whenever I first came down here in '92 in New Orleans, I worked for this guy, Greengrass, and I got to apply chemicals and, fertilizer, insecticides, pesticides to the yard of Governor Tarver's, out in Mandeville. I thought that was a real honor, just, as far as politics and everything, and Edwards and Tarver and stuff like that. So in '92, I worked for Bayou State Security and Bears Security, doing security on the Canal Bus Terminal, where I ended up seeing this guy get shot. There was a group of kids out. I think it was like Bienville or Iberville or something like that. And there was a group of kids and they were playing basketball on this pull-out rim. And I just saw two vehicles pass. One was like it's like a 98 or something. It was a big vehicle, maybe like a Cadillac. And the other one was a Suzuki Sidekick. So the first vehicle passed and pow, 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 shot in the air. As the second vehicle basically watched as they scattered and pinpointed this one dude. I want to say there was like at least 8 kids out there, or 8 people out there playing basketball, and they all scattered. And the aftermath, there was just only one person that was laying on the ground, which I was just like, wow, I was the precision, I called 911 and I didn't follow up on to see if the dude lived or anything, but that made a huge impact to me, just the mentality, still black on black, crimes here. And then I started as a laborer with MCC of New Orleans at UNO. My ex-wife was attending there, and we got an apartment, married apartment, and her uncle used to work for him. So I kind of went down and applied and got the job to help him. So went on to do Suno's boilers unit as well as 2 lanes. Basically, I was a plumber's helper, a laborer, a pipe fitter in a sense. They found out, well, I got on the torch and everything, so I cut up pipe real good, and they just let me do whatever I could do because they weren't only paying me like 8, I don't know, but they was paying me labor wages. But being a union company, local 60, the apprentices were making so much more, so that I'd imagine they were making so much bank off of me. Not no killing, but they was making a substantial profit off of paying me labor wages, and I'm doing apprentice type work. At Tulane, a guy was flown in to show me how to insulate the steam pipes with an epoxy fiberglass material. Stayed with him one day. They told me about the price. It was crazy. It was nice too, but I learned how to do it, and I had to go down the rest of the steam pipe. at Tulane and apply this material to it in order to insulate it and protect it. I went on to be on the IMAX theater for the aquariums, um, did the Mark Morial Convention Center, Tulane Research. I did the medical gas. I like that. That was nice. Tulane Clinic, we did that. Tulane Garage, me and a plumber was working Tulane Garage and Courtyard Marriott, and we it was just him and I. He was the plumber, I was the helper, and for the most part, he used to send me over, and I just do a lot of things on my own. From there, went to Bally's Casino. We did Bally's Casino. We did Harris Temporary Casino and the Canal location. At the Canal location, I got to go into the underground highway that was being built. It was supposed to be a tunnel that was going to go under the Mississippi River, and it was just amazing that a lot of New Orleans people really didn't know about it, and I was privileged to go down there into that tunnel and get to see it. Okay, I got to go into the underground highway they were building to go under the Mississippi. East Jeff expansion I did. We did the MRI building out there. And we did some other updated equipment and stuff like that, installation. And then I did West Jeff Medical. We did Children's Hospital. We did New Orleans Airport, where I was a pipe fitter. And we did variable frequency AC installation. That was awesome, lovely. I did the Martin Luther King Elementary out by Jackson Barracks. And then, yeah, I helped the plumber install the ground floor plumbing for Courtyard Marriott, and I connected the water main. I remember they had this little saw that I had to cut this pipe, and that was always precision. That was always good. And then I connected it with the connectors, and then I got to turn the water main on and build up pressure to make sure there was no leaks and so forth. That was just awesome. And also, I got the signs at the New Orleans Regional Airport changed from a no parking, from no stopping. No, it was no parking at the time to no stopping, because I remember going up there and I was picking up my stepson from a flight from Seattle. He was returning from the summer with his dad, and we had like a party at the house, me and Danielle, and we went to go pick him up. She went inside. I was just waiting outside, me, Mook, and somebody else. So the cop was harassing me, black cop, black dude. He comes to the car. You gotta leave. You gotta move. You gotta move. I had already worked there, so I kind of understood the procedure. So I circled around, came back. So then he come back and he started being an asshole to me. He asked me to see my license and registration. I said no. I was like, because you don't have probable cause. Because first off, you don't understand the law that says no parking. I'm in my vehicle with my vehicle running. So the law states such and such about parking. So he got heated. He started ticking my freaking license plate off, so forth. So white cops came. What's going on? So take out my insurance, take out my registration. I showed the white cop just to, hey, I got this together, but your officer here is getting out of pocket, messing with my personal vehicle, because he's trying to say that I'm parked, whereas the law states such and such. So I noticed, recently I went up there or whatever, and the signs were changed to no stopping, So got to learn the laws, learn interpretations. Then I did 10 years in the Louisiana Army National Guard, and it was in recognition of the Guard being the first militia for America, and other branches of the service derived from the Army, Air Force, Navy, So that was just in recognition, and my main focus was to put my state first. So that's some contributions here. I'm trying to make changes to Louisiana because everybody left. That's influential and so forth. So I had to stay.
Currently in the judicial system, we need cameras in the courtrooms in order to hold all parties involved honest. Currently, there's no fear of repercussions by judges from the Judicial Committee Special Counsel, who is held accountable for judicial misconducts. So we need to get this figured out, being incarceration capital of the world with the highest overturned conviction, Louisiana. Walter Reed, St. Timothy Parish, DA, going to jail. Recently, Tangipahoa Parish police were raided by the FBI. This is just the beginning. How much more corruption will we find? We need to look. Incorporated penalties. The judicial system needs to house convicted felons or convicted criminals separate from the innocent until proven guilty. I've written 9 complaints of judicial misconduct to the Judicial Committee Special Counsel's section, and they state that I allege no judicial misconduct within the scope of their jurisdiction. Sound like Jim Crow, whenever the lynch mob would kill people and would not be found guilty. Jim Crow. I see a lot of Jim Crow activity still going on. The no-fault divorce, and then you have go to child support, and they saying that through no fault of your own, you are enslaved to pay such and such amount a month. And as far as the division of the family, Section 8, can't have the male counterpart in the household. Division, Jim Crow.
It's just that it doesn't take real good pictures, but just tap it. So you gotta tap
So the other night, I'm traveling back from Thanksgiving dinner with the Carters. Fabulous food, excellent people, and so forth. So I'm driving on the bridge that's outside of Kenner, and I noticed this police vehicle, you know, with its lights on up front, and everybody basically got over to the left lane. So I continued traveling in the right lane, and I'd say when I got within like 100 feet or a little bit in that general distance, I noticed the police, well, the white truck that the policeman had pulled over was leaving, and I looked and I observed that the state trooper was not on the street or outside of his vehicle. His lights were still on, and he had finished the situation or whatever, was probably just finishing up paperwork. So I continued on in the right lane, understanding the laws that, hey, you know, if you can't get over, you're just supposed to kind of make sure that you're doing everything safe. So once I pass him, he jumps over and, you know, keeps his lights on and gets behind me. I'm thinking he's probably passing, he's probably seeing somebody else. So I get over in the right lane, and, you know, he gets over behind me. So then I pull over. You know, I'm sitting there in the vehicle waiting for him to walk up. So after so long, I get out and walk to the rear of my vehicle. He gets out and approaches me. So I'm like, why'd you stop me, dude? You know. So he starts telling me about the move over law, you know, that I had failure to yield to an emergency vehicle, and that's why he stopped me and so forth. So we start talking, and I'm like, dude, I saw the truck leaving, and, you know, everything was over with, so I continued in the right lane, which is breaking no laws, you know. So I asked him specifically, because we got into, I kind of like was brainstorming, and I'm like, I know about it in Texas, but, you know, I've always done it as a courtesy, you know, to state troopers, policemen, and anybody that's outside of the vehicle on the side of a road. You know, even if you have a flat tire or whatever. When I notice anybody on the side of the road, I pull over. When I was in high school, we had an alum died from that same situation. So I've always been courteous and respectful. So reading the law that he stated to me, Louisiana law 32-125. It's when any Thanksgiving evening in St. Charles Parish, I received a ticket from State Trooper 1563, ticket number 3236782, who felt that I was required to move over while his vehicle was on the side of the road with flashing lights after I observed the vehicle that he pulled over leaving the scene and he being inside the vehicle. Under B Part 1, the last sentence says, if a lane change is not possible, the driver shall slow to a reasonably safe speed, in which in a court of law, he cannot prove that I was not traveling at a safe speed. So ignorance of the law is no excuse, and consequences being the best teacher. I feel that this state trooper needs to be held accountable for filing a false report with being ignorant of the fact that I was still able to utilize the right lane, which the left lane was full and I could not move over safely.
I love you.
Just say it again.
Wait. I love you, Daddy. And when I go by your house and when you pick me up.